Welcome to The Feminine Duality, a podcast for midlife women where we heal from burnout and we learn how to take charge of our crazy time again. Are you sitting in uncertainty? You know, where you know things are going to happen, but you don't actually know what. Say your partner's told you that they are thinking about leaving you, and you don't know whether they're going to or not. So right now you don't know what's going to happen with the house. Are you both going to move? Is one of you going to move? You don't know if they actually are going to leave or they're going to decide that they want to stay and work on things. And you feel really, really uncertain about what's happening next. Or you have found out that there's going to be redundancies and layoffs at your company. You don't know if your job's going. HR are refusing to make eye contact. There's just a massive rumour mill going on. You don't know if you need to start looking for other jobs or if you need to find something, anything that proves that you're a valuable member of the team, or are you actually going to have an income in the next few months? Not a nice place to be in, is it? Your landlord's just told you that they want you to move out and you're looking for flats but you haven't got anything yet. You've been for viewings, you've applied for them, but it's all up in the air, right? Basically, life has thrown you one heck of a curveball. You know that things are going to happen, you know that things need to happen, but you don't actually know what yet. And you have probably done everything that is in your power to do, but now you're beholden to other people or outside institutions to make decisions. You need answers and you don't have any. I've been in these kinds of situations before. I moved into this flat only a year ago after being evicted from the place I was living, and had a very limited time to find somewhere else that was suitable for my life situation. And I didn't know whether I was going to find something on time and what was going to happen if I couldn't find something, and not a very nice place to be in. I've also gone through redundancy. I've been the person who's found out that there are going to be redundancies, and now we're just waiting to find out who and when. I think the absolutely worst one I've ever gone through in my entire life was the birth of my oldest daughter, who suffered severe brain injuries due to birth complications, and we didn't actually know whether we were going to take a baby home with us or not. And that's not the example I'm going to talk about here, because honestly that is a little bit too heavy. But the most recent time of sitting in deep, uncomfortable uncertainty has got to do with my disabled daughter. Now, she has cerebral palsy. She is quadriplegic. Her hips have not developed as they should have done if she'd been standing and walking. She has a condition called hip dysplasia. Right now, her right hip joint is completely dislocated. It is out of socket. And we're not talking, a sudden injury dislocation. It's something that's happened over time. And she's supposed to have surgery to correct this. But she started to tell us that she was in pain. And when I say she started to tell us, what I mean is she was screaming. She was giving very strong pain signals. And ultimately, when her body is in stress, she starts having severe seizures. She needs more help than we can give her at home. And so she ended up in hospital because of her severe pain. And because she is so complex, because there's so many parts involved in looking after her, caring for her, there was no clear direction. And there was nobody who was fully willing to take responsibility. I needed somebody to make a decision on pain management. I needed her surgical team at the orthopedic hospital to be involved in this situation, because ultimately I knew it was an orthopedic issue. It was, and I was sort of right and sort of wrong. It actually wasn't the hip, which I thought it was. It turned out that she had sustained an osteoporotic fracture a few weeks earlier. This is not my finest mom moment, by the way, having a doctor looking at me and saying, "Did you know she broke her leg 3 weeks ago?" No, I knew she was in pain. I didn't know she'd gone and broken her bloody leg. Yeah, that was not good. And let me just say that I hadn't ignored her pain for weeks. I had been in touch with her pediatric consultant. I was waiting on him to make a bloody decision, to be perfectly honest. But she's in hospital. I know that she needs surgery. I don't know if that surgery can now go ahead because of the fracture. I know she needs stronger pain medicines, but nobody is willing to make a decision on what pain medicines to give her because of all the other medicines that she's on and how things can counteract with each other. To add to it, I'm also trying to get social services to increase the budget for her carer so we can have a little bit more help, please, because right now it's very, very difficult to look after her. And nobody is giving me answers, and nobody is making decisions, and nobody is taking responsibility. And I'm stuck in uncertainty because I don't know what's happening next. Oh boy, I am not comfortable in this space. I'm a planner. I'm the one who organizes everything, but I can't plan for anything because I don't know what I'm planning for. And clearly, this is not the first time I have been in a situation where I feel incredibly uncertain. As you heard by my examples, I've gone through it before. I've gone through it badly. And I have done the reps. More than once, I have gone through this. And it is really not easy when it happens. When your brain wants answers and it's not getting any. You know, you've tried to look for answers. You've asked for answers. You've asked your partner who's thinking about leaving straight up, well, what is it? And they're like, well, I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet. You've sent off job applications and you're checking your inbox every 5 minutes to see if you've had an answer, and then nothing is landing in that inbox, right? The more you stare at it, the emptier it becomes. Maybe that is a technique for clearing your inbox, just really wanting an email to appear, and then you sit and stare at it and the emails just start deleting themselves. No, okay. Yeah, I know. It doesn't work like, it'd be nice if it worked like that. It doesn't work like that. You're trying to speak to HR and just find out, you even get like a vague idea of what departments are going to be hit, and they can't say anything, obviously. And so you don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen next. You don't know what your best next step is going to be. In my daughter's case, I reached out to everybody involved in her care. I was the one who contacted the orthopedic hospital. I am the one who spoke to pediatrics, neurology, symptoms management. Like, I sounded the jungle drums in every single direction I could possibly sound them, because I needed somebody to decide, I'm the point person. I'm taking responsibility here. I will make decisions. Yeah, that didn't happen. I needed these people to speak to each other. Pull together a multidisciplinary team meeting and decide on something, please. I mean, one of the things I desperately needed was stronger pain relief. And she's on a lot of different medicines, so they're very scared of making those decisions. And we literally had a member of the pain team saying, well, have you tried paracetamol? No, we've not been maxed out on paracetamol for weeks. Of course not. Yes, we've tried paracetamol. She needs something more. Oh, I don't know. Could we try diazepam? No, you can't. She's on clobazam. Same family, same medicine. You can't give her anymore. Oh, then I don't know. Can we try morphine? Oh, that's very addictive. Yes, it is, but it's not like she's going to be able to start hanging out in dodgy back alleys to buy morphines on the black market by herself now, is it? Could we try morphine? I managed to get morphine prescribed, eventually. Took a few days. But to come back to a wider discussion about sitting in uncertainty and not make this podcast episode a complex needs parenting episode, when you are in this state of uncertainty, when your brain wants these answers and is not getting them, when you start spinning in scenarios, if this happens, then I'm going to do that, and then if that happens, I'm going to do this. That is not a comfortable place to be in. It's draining because you don't know which scenario it's going to be. You have nothing to anchor yourself on. You're adrift in this heaving sea of, I don't know. And your brain really wants to know. Your brain really wants answers, and it's going to keep looking for them. Whether you can get answers or not, your brain is going to keep looking for them. And so you're trying to sleep and you're just drifting off, and your brain goes, oh, but what is scenario A? If it's scenario A, we're going to do this. But then if it's scenario B, we're going to do this. And if it's scenario C, then, we need to plan for that outcome and that outcome. And you're like, okay, great, I wanted to sleep, but I guess we're doing this then. And you try to come up with contingency plans and with options. And your brain goes back to scenario A because you still haven't actually given your brain something concrete to work with. You lose hours of sleep. Not to mention the internal arguments. You know, the one where you're having a full-blown argument with somebody, but it's all happening in your head. Yes, I know you do this too. And I bet you laughed. It's funny because it's true, right? How many hours of mental energy have you wasted on fighting with somebody in your head? You make a great case for yourself when it's all happening in here. They can't hear you, love. They don't care. That's the worst thing. They don't care. They're not listening. And every single response response that your brain makes up that they might be coming up with. If you actually finally get to have that conversation with them, they're not going to say what you're expecting them to say. You're wasting time. You're wasting energy. You're exhausting yourself. You're not present in what is happening in the now. You start venting. You call your mom, you call your best friend, and you go over the whole situation again. This is the situation. This is what has happened. This is what they have said. This is what they've done. And your friend, she's a good friend. She's on your side. So she says, oh, but aren't they going to? Oh, but surely the correct answer is. And you're like, yeah, but I don't know yet. They're asking exactly the same questions that you're asking. And they're reinforcing everything that you don't know. And your brain that has now started running all of these scenarios and all of these internal arguments, it gets right. This is what we're doing now. We're running scenarios and we're having internal arguments because you have just told your friend this and your friend, she has told you that right back. So this is what we're doing. And you're stuck. You're so stuck. And oh my God, I was so stuck. I've lost count on the number of arguments I've had, not with my daughter's social worker, but with some arbitrary panel that makes decisions on budget. I don't even know what this panel is. As far as I'm concerned, it might be a waste bin in a corridor. That's how non-concrete panel is in my head. But I've been fighting with them. Oh, I have been in that panel and I have been making a case. Jeez. They don't care. I don't exist. They have no idea who I am. I'm a name on a piece of paper. They don't give a shit about me. Oh, you waste so much energy on this constant mental vigilance. You can't focus on anything else. How are you supposed to make a decision about dinner when this is where you're at? Let alone do your job, the job that is in front of you, the job that you may or may not lose in the next round of redundancies. You can't focus on that. You're too busy worrying about what is actually going to happen. You're exhausted, love. This is tiring stuff and you're not sleeping, okay? You erode your own self-trust. You keep overstepping your own limits because you do more things than you actually feel able to do. I kept overriding my own limits in all of this. It wasn't actually my job to reach out to my daughter's entire varied spread care team across multiple hospitals. That was the job of the doctors in the hospital we were in, but I knew they weren't doing it. And so I took it on. It wasn't my job, but I did it. I pushed through. I kept trying. I kept pushing. This is actually the third time I'm recording this because I had just launched this podcast. And when you launch a podcast, you're supposed to put an episode out every week so you keep growing your podcast. So I have to record an episode. And right now, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. The only thing I know is that I'm in this great big heaving sea of I don't know. I'm sitting in all of this uncertainty. So I'm going to make a podcast episode about uncertainty because I have to post a podcast episode. Now, what I actually help women with is to avoid burning out, to heal from burnout, and to manage their time and energy in a nervous system friendly way. And I just rolled over everything that I know. I kept overriding my own limits. I know what my limits are. I have done this work for a long time. I know how to do this. But I got caught out. Of course I got caught out. It's my daughter. It's her life. It's her well-being. She comes before everything. She comes way before me. Yeah, you get it. I had to remember everything that I have learned. And what I have learned is that sometimes the work for you right now is not doing. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about our free mini course, the Burnout Reset. I have burnt out twice, and I'm not talking about the, I don't feel excited about this anymore, I must be a bit burnt out, that you so often hear about on social media. No, I'm talking about not being able to feel excitement about anything. Extreme anxiety and failing at even simple tasks. Despite being a highly capable woman, I just couldn't cope with anything. If any of that sounds familiar, the Burnout Reset is for you. You see, I learned a lot from my experience. The warning signs of burnout, the symptoms, but more importantly, how to actually heal and come back to yourself afterwards. In the Burnout Reset, you will learn what burnout looks like and what your personal energy thieves are. And you will get a list of small, doable steps to get some energy back that I promise you actually do help.
This is how I managed to be a single mom with a medically complex child, work full-time, run 2 online brands, and feel energized instead of overwhelmed. Sign up to the Burnout Reset for free on subscribepage.io/4ATWME, or better yet, just click or copy the link in the description. As a bonus, you will also be signed up to our email list for more connection and support.
What if you can accept that you have no answers? You have no solution. You have no direction, and go, okay, I don't know. So I'm not going to do. I'm going to stop. What if you can fight the belief that pushing harder is going to produce more clarity? And the belief that you must stay mentally engaged at all times? Are you uncomfortable now? I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. You see, it was Friday afternoon. At this point, I had managed to get morphine prescribed. She was on stronger pain relief. And I had managed to, if not get hold of everybody that were responsible for Elin's care in all of these different places, I had at least reached out. But every expert, every special needs specialist, the entire surgical team, everyone and anyone who was qualified to make decisions on my daughter's care and medicine management, they went home for the weekend. How rude of them, right? And I had yet another internal argument in which I was demanding that they stay and work late on the Friday or work over the weekend. They were not going to do that. Not even in my head were they going to do that. But I really wanted to argue that point. And then I went, no. No, this has to stop. I had to go, you know what? I have done everything that I can do up to this point. I have done my bit, and now I need to stop. I need to sit back, and I need to wait, and I have to trust that the universe is going to do its thing. Things are going to work out as needed. Not for the best, not necessarily, but they will work out as needed. I have nothing else to do. I've done my bit. I've done way beyond what I can do. I still don't have any answers. I'm just going to have to let it go. I didn't want to let it go. I've got to be honest, I did not want to let it go, but I had to let it go. As I say, I've been here before, I've put in the reps, I knew I had to stop. Even if I really desperately wanted a clear timetable and the ability to plan for the next step. But at this point, I was not in control of the next step. How are you going to set timelines if you don't know when something's going to happen, or even if it's going to happen? Time management assumes control. And the control isn't with you right now. Planning assumes choice, but you're not the one doing the choosing. Productivity assumes agency, but you don't have agency. Right now, the responsibility doesn't lie with you. It lies with him. It lies with them. It lies with that. And you have no control over any of them. You have to let go. You have to trust. You have to trust without any sort of evidence that things are going to work out as you want them to. You just have to trust. You have to let go of expectations. You can't expect that they're going to come back with the answers that you want. You have to refuse to engage in those internal arguments. You have to pull back when your brain starts spinning scenarios. My cat is jumping up on my lap. I'm actually a little bit surprised. She feels deeply betrayed by me today. Excuse you? That's probably why she's blocking me. It's like, I'm not letting you have any screen time here. I have forced her to endure a wash and a flea treatment. She is very, very upset with me. The top of her head is still very tufty from the flea treatment, and I'm desperately trying not to scratch the top of her head. But she has at least dried. She looks a bit fluffier. Hey, baby. I know. You're not happy with me today, are you? Do not scrape off that flea treatment. Can I get you to lie down? Will you lie down for me, please? Her name's Luca. Right. Pull back when your brain starts spinning in scenarios. And I make that sound so easy. It is not easy. It is really not easy because your brain wants to go there. Your brain wants answers. It wants something concrete. Okay, that's what brains are trained to do. And if it can't get those answers, if it can't get something concrete, it's going to go, oh, but this thing. Oh, but that thing. If we do this, then that. Your thoughts will go there. But if you manage to catch even some of them, oh, you're doing great. You see, it's not your personal failure that you don't have the answers yet. It's not your fault that you don't know what comes next. If you can tell your brain, every time it goes there, every time it starts spinning, if you can tell your brain, don't go there. We're not going to do this. We're going to pull back. This is not on me. oh, you are doing something powerful. You're taking back agency. You're stopping this external force from throwing off your internal balance. That Friday afternoon, I left my sick daughter in hospital with her dad, and I went home to my other daughter, who really, really needed her mum at that moment. She needed me to be present with her. Because if this uncertainty thing is hard for me as a grown-up, imagine how hard that is on a child who has even less agency, even less choice, even less ability to control whatever's going on, right? She needed a present mom. And every time I noticed that my thoughts started heading down into scenario spinning, I went, nope. Pull back. We're not doing this. We don't have the answers. We're not going to get the answers. This is a waste of time and energy. Come back to now. I limited who I talked to. I had a lot of friends in that time who generously and lovingly reached out and offered me a chance to vent, and I said no thank you. Because I realized that it wasn't helping me to explain the situation one more time and then be met with, oh, but obviously the correct answer is to move the operation forward. I mean, yeah, I think so, but somebody has to take responsibility for this. Yeah, you'd think. Does social services not see the needs that she has? No. It absolutely did not help me to hear these things reflected back at me again and again. Those were the very questions that I had been ruminating on for days. And I needed to let go of them. I needed to stop those questions from spinning around in my head. And so I said, no thank you. To every offer to speak and vent, no thank you. The thing I needed was the person who could just hold space. And that was my partner, who is just absolutely amazing at this kind of stuff. He is the person who will listen and shut up. He said straight out, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I have a lot of questions and I'm sure we will address all of them over time, but right now you do not need to be interrogated. Right now, you just need me to be there for you. And he's, 100% right. That's exactly what I needed. I just needed him to be there and hold space. So if you have a person like that in your life, now's the time to speak to them. They're the one you want to reach out to. The biggest thing I did though, and the biggest thing you can do, is I chose to trust without any evidence. When I stopped, I said, I have done everything that I can. What's left now is for me to trust in the universal power that things are going to work out as needed. Not for the best, okay? Trusting that things are going to work out for the best, that's hard to believe. But I could trust that things would work out as needed. I could trust that ultimately there will be some answers. They may not be the answers I want, but there will be answers. And when I have answers, then I can start planning again. Then I can start preparing and putting things in place. But until I have the answers, I can't do anything. Nothing. So the trust here is not trusting in that you don't need to chase answers. Of course you need to chase answers. You have that need. You can't. You have the need, right? But the trust is that the answers will come. At some point you will know. And when you know, that's when you can start shaping the next step. When your partner says, I'm staying, let's work on this, you can start planning together for how you're going to work on this. Or they say, it's over, I'm leaving you. All right, now what happens? The redundancies get announced. You're either in that list or you're not. And you know, and you can start planning the next step. But before you know, you just have to trust. I don't need to use this time. I can just wait. And yes, it was hard to believe in that moment that I could wait. But I was able to catch most of the times that my brain started spinning scenarios. Not all of them, or at least not straight away. But most of them, as soon as my brain started going, scenario A, I was able to catch that and go, pull back. And I was a much more present mum that evening and over that whole weekend. Much more present mum. My shoulders dropped, my jaw unclenched, okay? Because I was able to catch when it happened and pull back. I stopped the internal arguments. I wanted to have fun with my child, not argue with a random, arbitrary, imaginary person. I was able to sleep. Oh, I needed that sleep. I'd been working hard. I'd been lifting heavy the whole week, advocating for my daughter. And in between sets, you need to rest. And that weekend became my rest time because I knew that come Monday morning, I was going to be straight back at it. Deciding to wait, it wasn't wasted time. It was necessary time. I had to have that break because I had to be fighting fit again a few days later. So that is the question I want to leave you with. What if waiting isn't wasted time? And what if trusting without evidence is a real power move? I still don't have all the answers, by the way. I have some answers. I don't have all of them. She's home from hospital. I know the surgery got postponed. I don't know when it's going to be rescheduled. But obviously it was supposed to have happened a month ago when I record this. It did not happen. It almost happened. They actually decided that provided they could get all the different teams at the hospital to agree to it, they were going to go ahead with the surgery as planned, take her down to the hospital a few days earlier, and then go in and stabilize the fracture as they fixed the hip. And it went as far as, yes, you're leaving first thing tomorrow morning at 5 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. it was, nope, it's not safe to go ahead because the rest of her wellness picture is too dodgy. We daren't put her under anesthesia, so we're going to pull the plug. Definitely not the answer I wanted. That was a Thursday. So the next week, Thursday, that happened. And on Friday morning, we all woke up with the flu. And we were so sick. It wasn't the answer I wanted, but it worked out as needed. Because we definitely couldn't go ahead with major surgery with the flu. It worked out as needed. Not for the best, but definitely as needed. As for social services, that fight is ongoing. As for medication review and ongoing pain management, that fight is still ongoing. I don't have all the answers yet, but I am much more rested and I'm in a much better and secure and stable nervous system state to be able to do all of this crap. And it's much easier for me right now to go, okay, I don't know. And I just have to wait. I've done my bit, now it's up to other people. Is this my microphone today, this little cattail? What are you doing? You are adorable, but honestly, cat, thank you for being with me today. I hope you got something out of this episode. And if you did, it would mean the world to me if you were to follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify and leave a review. And if you're watching it on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and engage in the comment field. If you want to engage with me directly, I'm on Instagram at The Feminine Duality. And I will speak to you again soon with a new take on how to plan in a way that's kind to your nervous system. Thank you for being here.